Welcome again to this edition of Meet the Candidates. I'm David Nicholas, and we are joined this time by Representative Joel Johnson. He is a Republican from Michigan's State House District number 97. He is seeking re-election to a second term in that office. Representative, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me, Dave.
Our title is Meet the Candidates, a chance for you as an incumbent to sort of re-meet some of those constituents and let them know a little bit about your background and experience that you bring to the campaign.
Very good. Well, I'm happy to do that. As many know in my area, I used to manage Johnston Elevator in Clare for about 21 years, other agricultural businesses before that. So about 35 years in agricultural business. Had an opportunity to work with legislators on behalf of agriculture for both the Michigan Agribusiness Association and Farm Bureau a little bit. And the more I did that, the more I realized that we need some people with agricultural backgrounds, people with business experience, and just strong family values and community values. And so that's why I decided it was important for me to run for the legislature, and happy that I've been able to serve and honored for a couple of years in doing that. We've been able to get some good things done and looking forward to doing more good things.
A chance to sort of bring people up to speed on the district itself, what you campaigned for in 2010, then with the census and the districts being redrawn. How is that district is different now, or are the changes coming as you are campaigning for a second term?
Okay, yeah, there will be changes as of the 1st of next year because people always keep the representative whom they've elected until the end of that term. So I keep my full district the way it has been until the end of this year. And what changes is that I lose the northern half of Bay County, which I have now, and pick up the eastern half, roughly, of Osceola County. So I continue to keep Clare, Gladwin, and Aranac counties. And as of next year, will represent the eastern half of Osceola.
So for those areas, all in District 97, what do you identify as we proceed in this campaign of 2012 as the primary issues of this campaign?
Well, Dave, one of the biggest issues is jobs. I've had the experience of having a daughter leave the continental United States for work, and many of our people have had relatives leave for work, and we want them to be able to stay here. And it's really important that we create an atmosphere in which jobs are easy to provide for people, and also to create an atmosphere where our students are getting the education that they need to fulfill those jobs.
Two issues there, and we'll focus a little bit more closely on both, but first in terms of the issues as a whole, those economics that you referred to, what in a first term would you point to, running now as an incumbent and running on your record, that you would say legislatively, either as a sponsor or a primary supporter of bills that have been passed in this term that we're wrapping up, that you would point to that addressed those particular concerns?
Well, several things. We've worked really hard to get the spending down by government. I ended my own retirement health care as well as other legislators. In the past, you only had to serve as a legislator for 6 years to receive your retirement health care from 55 until you were on Medicare. And nobody else is getting that. So we were able to eliminate that. We were able to put a limit on the amount that the government can spend on health care for and benefits for its current employees. And we've also worked to cut our budget in the House. We've cut our own salaries. And so we're trying to get government spending down so that we can reduce taxes to our people and to our companies and so forth. So it's a friendlier place for people to be. And one of the big things that we were able to do was to eliminate the Michigan business tax. And that's a big deal. And the biggest part of that was to eliminate this for our small businesses, the LLCs, people who are our next door neighbors, who have a little heating and cooling business, a building business, things that provide probably 80% of the jobs in Michigan, these small businesses provide. In the past, these business owners were paying the Michigan business tax, a surcharge, and then paying as individuals on the income that comes through. Now they only have to pay as individuals instead of being double taxed. And this is a big benefit to help them to be able to provide more jobs for our people in Michigan. On the same token, we've been able to set it up to where our C corporations pay 6% of their profits. So the larger businesses are paying 6% of their profits on income. And in the past, what was happening was that we had certain businesses who were deemed the favorites, if you will, who received certified tax credits that they provided them a big cut or sometimes a total exemption from having to pay the Michigan tax. I didn't think that was fair, and most of us don't think that's fair because other people have to make up for that. And so now it's an across the board as soon as we take care of those commitments that have been in place. But it's an across the board 6% on profits. It's fair for everyone, and this will help job creators in Michigan. At the same time, we did some things to update workman's compensation and other issues to make it friendly for employers in Michigan. We're still working on cutting red tape. We've been able to do some of that. The opportunities that employers have in Michigan are really much better than they used to be.
And when you say, and phrase it as you did, things that you're still working on, were there particular things that you wanted to see come through in a first term that likely will not be enacted by the time the term expires, things that you would specifically reintroduce first out of the blocks if re-elected to a second term to continue that work or build upon some of these things?
We have some things that we're disappointed that we haven't seen through yet, but we haven't given up. We will have a busy session period from the time of the election until the first of the year, and we're still trying to get some of those things through, and we'll continue to work on those efforts. Education, I think you were going to mention that anyway, so one of the big things that I'm working on is vocational education opportunities for our students. We have the Michigan Merit Curriculum that's been enacted that provides that all students have to be ready for 4 years of college. Well, that's great, and it's good for a lot of kids, but there are a lot of students who are just not going to do a 4-year college program. And I think we're doing them a disservice by filling up their curriculum time during their 4 years of high school and not allowing them vocational time. So I've got a really simple bill that just says that with the permission of administrators and parents, a student can replace any of those high-level college prep classes such as Algebra 2, English 4, Science 4, online learning requirements, and second-year foreign language. Any of those can be replaced with a vocational class. And I think those are very beneficial. When you look at the mitalent.org website, there's 80,000 jobs on there that are not being filled because we don't have people trained for those.
Does this circle back around to during the prior governor's administration when we revamped the curriculum and put in new graduation requirements? This sounds as if this is a direct response to things that were put in place then when the concern was put forth then that we were basically a state coming out of a manufacturing-dominated economy that was full of people that could do a certain level of work, but we didn't have enough that were at that higher level. How are we balancing or rebalancing then that workforce as you see it with that proposal?
Well, the idea is not to water down the education that's out there. It's important that we have students that are trained to a high level. But I think that it's an opportunity for these students to have a choice and still receive their diploma rather than a certificate of completion because they didn't do this Michigan Merit Curriculum. And you know, if a student chooses to go on for engineering or other high-level educated jobs, by all means, let's educate them to the best of our ability to meet those requirements. And let's make sure they are ready for college. But on the other hand, if a student is more suited to a high skill level program, which we still need a lot of those jobs, welders and builders and auto mechanics, all those things, we need to make sure that they have an opportunity to do that, rather than saying, hey, you know, I know that what you want to do is a program that you could just do a short-term training that would help you get that job. You don't need 4 years of college, but we're telling you that you have to prepare for it anyway and think about taking on a big debt and, you know, those sorts of things. I think that's a disservice to the students. If they can start learning those things in high school, they can make a choice, or at least be more educated on, hey, you know, I did some work in high school in welding or auto mechanics, and yes, I do like that. I'd like to go further with that, or that really wasn't for me. I want to go further from here. And some of these students also are not motivated by these high-level classes such as Algebra 2 and so forth. Some of them, I feel, will have a tendency to just turn off when we don't allow them to do something that really does motivate them. One of my children was not motivated by academics. The others were, but he got an opportunity to get a welding class and an auto mechanics class, and all of a sudden something clicked, and he did go on for a 4-year degree, but it was because something motivated him to learn, and I think we need to give children those opportunities.
Looking at those as primary issues and the things that you have done, things that you would want to do, if you were to now sort of sum up to the voters, the people whose votes you're asking for in this campaign, what would be that final message you would leave for them as to why you would hope they would vote for you?
Well, you know, I've worked for them, and I want to continue to work for them. My most important thing is to be in contact with the voters, hear their ideas, and work on those ideas. Many of the bills that we have put in place have been because of ideas that have come from the voters. We continue to do that. We also have big ideas that we need to get done, working to make sure that government works for the people rather than the other way around. And it's very important that we're responsive to their needs. And we've gotten some good things done. We feel that it's very important that we get some more things done. We continue to work on issues that deal with public safety, issues with with more reduction in government spending, but at the same time taking care of services that our government, that our clientele needs. So.
Well, for taking the time to discuss all of these and laying out the groundwork for what's been done and some of those goals ahead, we certainly do appreciate your time and wish you best of luck with the rest of the campaign.
Thank you very much, Dave.
And thank you for joining us as well. This has been Meet the Candidates. Our guest has been Representative Joel Johnson, Republican from State House District 97. He is seeking re-election to a second term in that office. His and all these other interviews will be going to our website, which you would have access to at WCMU.org. And for all of us here, we encourage you to get out and use your right to vote on Election Day, Tuesday, November 6th.